Hello and welcome to another one of D's ADD videos. Today we're going to be going over factoring by grouping. I'm going to restrict it to whenever we're dealing with trinomials. You can also use it if there's four terms, okay? But for right now, we're going to just focus on the trinomials. So when we're dealing with a trinomial and it has the general quadratic form of ax squared plus bx plus c, this trinomial can be factored into a product of two binomials added or subtracted usually. A lot of people guess on these, right? And on most of the problems you can guess, but what happens on the ones you can't? And factoring by grouping is a fail-safe mechanism which is very reliable in comparison to just guessing what the factors are. If your polynomial is not too complex, then guessing will work just fine, but you need something for when you can't guess them. So there are basic set of steps that you can follow to use this technique every time, tried and true. First thing you're going to do is you're going to multiply the a times the c. And you're going to look for factors of a and c that add up to this middle term b. Again, a, the coefficient of the quadratic, times the constant. This is in the general form of a quadratic equation. And then they have to add up to this middle term. Once you find those two numbers, what you do is you break that middle term down into the two numbers as coefficients of x. So it'll be ax squared, and let's say the two numbers that added up to b or 2 and 5, then you would say 2x plus 5x. All right, don't forget the x's. And whenever you combine these two, they should still add up to b. That way you're not changing the actual integrity of the problem, you're just changing the way it looks. So we're going from 3 terms to 4 terms at that point. And then you can group the first 2 of the 4 terms that result and the last 2 of the 4 terms that result. So in this case, basically, the factors that multiply to a times c, whatever that answer was, let's call them e and d, they add up to b. So what we did was we broke them down into ex plus dx. When you combine these two, whether positive or negative, the e and d, then you should get back where you're at with b. So again, you're not changing the integrity of the problem, you're just changing its appearance. Now you have 4 terms. You can group the first 2 together, the second 2 together, factor out what's common to each one of those, and then the last 2. Okay? And once you're done factoring, you should have the same terms inside the parentheses. Okay? I'm not going to go further with this analogy because you actually need numbers for it to make sense. But basically, if I factor out the x term from here, and if there's a numerical term that's also common, then also factor out what's common to these last 2. What's left inside the parentheses should be exactly the same on both terms. And this will make more sense when you look at a numerical example in the example videos. Alright, so then what we're going to do is we're going to factor out, like I just said, what's common in the both groups, and then after that you're going to factor out the common parentheses that's going to be the same thing that's left on both sides, right? So I can factor that term out too, okay? This will make much more sense when we look at it with an actual concrete example. Don't panic if it's not making too much sense right now. Just remember, a times c that add up to b or subtract to b. Then break up, once you get those two numbers, b into those two numbers with the x attached to them. Then factor out what's common to the first 2, what's common to the last 2. What's left should be exactly the same. Factor that out. So check out the beginner, intermediate, and advanced examples. Make sure you try them before you actually watch the solution, and then check your answer by watching the solution. All right? As always, practice, practice, practice is the key to success. And I hope I've clarified things enough for you to at least try this method a few times. I guarantee if you try it a few times, it will stick, and this is the only way you will factor. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.